Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Hello, 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 hello. What's going on, Delora? We're back. How goes it?
You had me at hello. Hello.
Interesting that that's the Beyonce song that's stuck in your head, because I just had a different one stuck in my head for our first headline that we'll inevitably get to. So
Of course. Yeah, that just literally came to me when you said hello the way you did. So, I'm here. Another Beyonce song.
Right. And you know who I thought of with how I said hello is Whitney Houston. I don't know if anybody remembers that scene from The Bodyguard where she was not about to go out on stage and she came out, hello, 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 hello. Just wanted to stop by, maybe sing a song. So sorry, that's probably who I was mimicking. But, from one great diva to another, it's all love.
I was like pop culture.
Yep.
Hello from the other side.
Another one. There's three. There's three. Who else we got? Who else we got?
Come through, Mariah. What we got?
Right. Well, y'all can see we're starting out on a silly note, and I'm not even drinking. So welcome back. Welcome back. We're back.
Welcome.
Another Thursday episode, another headlines and hot topics episode. And we're going to start out with a lovely review that we got recently. Thank you guys so much who actually drop a review for us. This one came from Apple Podcasts via Fashion and Faith, titled Hanging with the Girls. I swear that when I'm listening to the pod, it feels like I am sitting with my best girlfriends, strong cocktail in hand, getting all the tea. The conversations range from deep and thoughtful to downright hilarious. I look forward to every episode. Keep it up, ladies. Thank you so much. We so appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I feel seen, Ashley. Like, we really do try to balance the scales with our thoughtfulness and, having a good old time.
Absolutely. This was spot on in terms of our attempts and efforts. So thank you. But also, I hope I read it in a voice that matched your enthusiasm. I did my best, but we so appreciate it, guys. Please keep the reviews coming. We love getting feedback from you about what you enjoy, anything we could do better or change to keep you guys, interested as we continue this podcast ride. So
exactly.
There you go. All right, let's get into these headlines. So like I said, I had another Beyonce song in my heart because our first headline is the worst kept celebrity news of 2023. And that is that Halle Bailey was pregnant and popped out a baby. She announced or confirmed, rather, the birth of a baby boy. With her
the
rapper.
Shade. No,
I mean, I'm just reading CBS News, okay? With her rapper boyfriend, DDG. And the caption said, even though we're a few days into the new year, the greatest thing that 2023 could have done for me was bring me my son. Welcome to the world, my halo. The world is desperate to know you, okay? So obviously, Beyonce, Halo, stuck in my head for a little minute after this. Interesting, too, the comments were pointing out that Nick Cannon has a child named Halo already.
Interesting. Well, apparently DDG in a interview sometime last year said that if he were to name a child, he would name his child Halo. I think it's cute. Obviously, it's a playoff of Halle's name. It actually reminds me of what Will and Jada did with Willow and Jaden. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the boy is off of Jada's name, the girl is off of Will's name, a derivative. So it's cute. And we always talk about how DDG is annoying AF because, I mean, he's trolling the internet constantly, right? But Haley is right there. I guess we got to stop giving her a pass because when she did that video talking about, y'all keep talking about I got a pregnancy nose, I'm black. I'm like, sis, you know exactly what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Why you even playing? Why
Yeah.
you even playing with us?
Yeah.
She looked fabulous during her pregnancy run, though. I mean, applause. Like the only thing that really seemed to change was her nose and that belly. And I've never seen so many ruffles in my life. So kudos to her.
She did her thing with the pregnancy maternity. Whoever her stylist is,
Yes.
top tier. Good job. Great work. But we all knew because as soon as the picture dropped of them coming from whatever doctor's appointment and she had a full belly.
Ooh, it's that getting up from that chair during the holidays. I'm like, if that's not a pregnant woman postpartum, uh, get up and walk, move. I don't know what is.
Yep. I also saw a video, older video of them, Chloe and Halle, with their mom, and they have their eyes closed and they're asking the mom, who's going to get married first? Who's going to have a
Yeah.
kid first? And she
Was that
kept
their
going
mom or
over.
older sister?
I thought it was their mom, but it could have been their older sister. I don't know for
Mhm.
sure because I
Yeah.
haven't really, besides I feel like I see their brother more than I
Yes,
see
more.
anybody else. But
Yeah.
whoever it was, they kept doing Halle. So obviously, maybe
Yeah.
to her family, this wasn't some big shock. But again, to us, especially because of the heights she's at in her career right now, it was very confusing when the speculation first started. I was like, she's not going to have a baby at the height of her Little Mermaid success and all this stuff going on. But I mean, here we are. Congratulations. Obviously, a baby is always a blessing. But now
Yeah.
they're sharing more about the pregnancy journey, and people were like, "But why now? Like, you didn't want us to be in your
Well,
business. Don't share it now." How do you feel
I
about it?
think so. Two things. So the first thing I was gonna say is I also think it's cute. They named their son Halo, and she has her first Grammy nomination, Grammy nomination with her song Angel. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering if that played a role. Because I know when you're pregnant, sometimes you can just be in a state and it's just like you can't shake it. Like for me, I was obsessed with A names. Like all the A names I wanted, boy, we didn't know the sex of the baby. So it was like boy names, girls names, unisex names, so, maybe she was in a heavenly state. But in terms of why now, I think it's a combination of things. So we are in a space, you and I are millennials. We're proud millennials. We talk about what it was like growing up. And one of the biggest phenomena growing up was 16 and pregnant, right? And as a result, there was a decline in teenage pregnancy. However, we still come from a generation where the expectation is if you're having a baby young, you be married. So with them hiding, quote unquote, her pregnancy and then revealing all the details now, it's giving Kylie Jenner to me.
Yeah.
And it's also, and Kylie was one of the first young unmarried mothers, meaning like before 25. We also see it with Naomi Osaka. We also see it with, well, Kiki's 30, so she doesn't count, but Cardi B at the height of her career, popping out babies. So I don't know. I think there's something about this generation that's like, yes, I'm at the height of my career, but I'm gonna have this baby too. And no, I'm not about to have this, I'm not gonna get married because why? Because for why? So I don't know, it's interesting. Do I agree with everything? I don't like I don't like the non-marriage. I mean, yes, you can have babies outside of marriage. I am not saying that because not everybody needs to be married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They are still very young too, so who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe my southern Christian roots are rearing up. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not even the dynamics of their relationship in that way for me. When I think about the should we wait, should we not wait. It was more so for me like, well, maybe it is a lot on the woman to have all this noise and chatter as a part of your journey that we just as non-famous people can't quite fathom, right? Not that obviously she still wasn't in a lot of people's mouths and still had a lot of hoopla anytime she posted anything because she wasn't confirming, but it was like, well, maybe it did lessen her stress to not have it be some big public pregnancy, because not just for the fact that you're pregnant, but a lot of people don't like your relationship necessarily and don't think that DDG would be a great partner to bring a child into the world with. So I get that.
Well, at the height of her career, he's writing a diss track talking about, I don't like seeing you being with dudes on screen. I'm like, this is her job, sir. Like,
Yeah. So I can understand it, but at the same time, again, at some point it was like you might as well just confirm, because it's pretty obvious as to what's going on at this point. And now you post stuff after the fact. I'm not gonna look at any of the stuff because you guys have kind of already said you don't want me in your business. So I shouldn't be in your business for good or for better or for worse, in my opinion. Like I've started to feel
yeah.
that way about the whole sentiment of celebrities of like, I need the public to stay out of my business. If you're a public figure and you want me to stay out of your business, just remember you said that. Like, just remember that your audience, your fans, whoever, just remember you said that.
Well, that's the part about a DDG that's kind of annoying. It's like, why y'all all up in our business, this and the other? And
He came up on
there,
YouTube.
what'd you say?
He came up on YouTube. That's how he got his fame.
Right. He came up on YouTube sharing his life, and then he was trolling everybody saying, "Oh, this is our daughter." But then when Haley made it official on social media, now he's like, "Oh, this is our baby. It's the flyest baby ever, but we're never going to show his face." I'm like, what are we doing here? The baby has an Instagram account. I just make up your mind. That's all.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's not for me at this point either. But
Yeah.
I do love Haley, and I can't wait to see what she does next. So
Yeah, absolutely. Still, as far as fandom for her career and for her projects, absolutely. But congratulations, and we'll move on. And on that note, we will truly move on. Let's move on to our next headline, Delora, which is we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole Katt Williams interview and subsequent reactions we've seen from pretty much everybody that he said something about, with the exception of Steve Harvey.
And you got to tell him no. He ain't talking to nobody. But still, that line right there is in my lexicon, Ashley. You got to tell him no.
The one that may stick out the most to me is something along the lines of, your allegiance to losers is so unlike you.
That was a word, okay? A word.
Damn. This interview has racked up like 40 million views. Michael Blackson, who was one of the targets of Katt Williams, said that Shannon Sharpe needs to cut Katt a check.
I mean, I probably got 2 of those views on lock, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I have one. Yes, I did go out and watch the entire 3-hour interview.
I went back to my highlights. I'm just saying, it took me out.
Shout out to Dayton, Ohio, by the way, my hometown. Yes, Katt Williams grew up for a little bit in Dayton, Ohio. Shout out to Ohio in general. He was born in Cincinnati, but I forgot to say that when we talked about it last week. Big up to Dayton getting this type of platform. But I think the latest news that I saw that was interesting is that Kevin Hart's ex-wife is about to join Katt Williams' tour. I was
listen. And you know what's also funny about it? It's layers for me. He said in that interview, he only goes on tour with people who's funnier than he is.
So what I'm saying is that Kevin Hart's wife,
yes,
is funnier than Kevin Hart.
Correct.
I will give her my stamp of comedic approval, but not her whack ass ex-husband.
The Hollywood quote unquote plant.
And that's no shade. I enjoy Kevin Hart. I've said that. But
I'm just going off of Katt's words.
It is like shady AF to me on the part of his ex-wife, because she also, as a part of her announcement, included one of his clips. I'm like, I
Yep.
thought y'all was cool. I thought y'all was cool. I guess maybe so, or maybe not. I never know with comedians. Like I've been saying lately, this was great PR for the stand-up comedy world, right? Like, was this a coordinated situation? Because all of y'all have been in the headlines more than I expected to start 2024. But like I said, we've gotten kind of some responses from Ricky Smiley. He seemed to have kind of an emotional response potentially, or just going through
First
some
of all,
things
what
with
grown
his
man
anniversary of his son's death.
videotapes himself crying like that? Like people are like, oh, this is about Kat. I'm like, is it?
I mean, people are also saying it's about the anniversary of his son's death, which I do remember hearing that unfortunately he
Yes.
lost his child,
Yes.
which is very sad. And Kat referenced that in the interview,
He
but
did.
I think it may have been one of those things people were saying where he started out. It's something because I don't really listen to the Ricky Smiley morning show, his radio show often, but
Mm-hmm.
it may have been something that he kind of does for his listeners in the mornings and maybe posted or something. And this one just kind of took a turn because he got emotional and
Got
what have
it.
you. And that could be
Yeah.
true. I don't know. Y'all have to let me know who watches and listens to his stuff more regularly. But you had that reaction, possibly. Then you had Faison Love going off, talk about he seems like he needs help, which he's in his right mind. Let's be for real.
First of all, what did he say?
You're a
That's a
fat Faison Love. Oh my goodness.
oh
Craziness. He was one,
uh,
he got it one of the worst. He got it one of the worst for sure.
he did. I think, yeah. Seti.
Cedric came out and responded. Yes. Michael Blackson came out and responded. Yes. Steve Harvey, like I said, I think he's the only one who's sleeping well at night because he's getting checks. He's like, I cut my check. I don't care about none of that.
But honestly, even in Cedric's response, and as I said in our last podcast, I grew up loving Cedric the Entertainer, loving Steve Harvey. But they never said
That he's lying.
that he was lying.
Because
They
the
just
internet
said,
has dug up all the receipts.
I mean, the internet even dug up the Cedric repurposed a joke from Designer Women.
Designing Women. When I saw that, I was like, who went into the archives and
First of
found
all,
this?
I vaguely remember watching that show as a youth. Okay. And this was, through osmosis because my grandma or my mama was watching it in the background. But yes, word for word.
People have time. I hope y'all are out here using y'all powers for good instead of evil, because y'all be having time.
I mean,
You have the
they
Mark
need to be
Curry joke.
recruited.
You have the Mark Curry joke
Yes.
that we saw the footage from Steve Harvey taking that as well. I mean, the receipts were coming swiftly. So people were like, there's a lot of things Katt Williams may do, but he ain't tell a lie.
Nope.
So the real winner in this whole scenario, though, is Shannon Sharpe. I mean, let's be for real.
I was going to say, what do you think this is going to do for Katt's career? Is they going to give him some type of momentum? I mean, everybody and their mama going to want to have him be interviewed, but he's not going to go on every show. That's the thing about Katt Williams, because his interview with Larry King was phenomenal. Like he's a fantastic interviewee. You know what I mean? And so,
and apparently Shannon Sharpe's been trying to get him for years. Like it wasn't just a fly by night situation. So he made the right move by securing that interview for sure. What do I think he's going to do to Katt Williams' career? I think he's going to continue to do his thing. I mean, I looked up his dates for the first time. He's coming through Orlando, Florida. I might go see him. And I've already been a fan. It's just put it on my radar that he's touring.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He cursed a little bit too much for me.
Did he?
That one special, the iconic one, the one that Wendy Harlow.
Oh, in his stand-up, he cusses too much for you.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I don't know if I would.
Well, at least he's not making jokes about fucking his mom like Pete Davidson. I tried to watch some of Pete Davidson's latest stand-up. I was like, this is not my type of humor at all. And I'm gross. Like I can be
They're very
gross.
dark. I have a healthy sense of humor, Ashley, but yeah, no, no, thank you to that.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think maybe it'll be the same. It's kind of like Chris Rock, where he does get some more tickets sold just because of the hoopla around the scenario. Because I definitely went to go see Chris Rock, hoping he was going to talk about the Will Smith situation. So there you go.
And that was a womp womp, though.
He never, I mean, he still to this day has never really gotten down like I expected. So I guess he's waiting on the right number from Netflix or whoever's going to offer him that deal. But we can move on. Katt Williams, you murdered him. All right. The Creative Arts Emmys were over the weekend. And I just want to lightly talk about it because we have the actual primetime Emmys coming up as well on January 15th. But there were
Yep.
some standout award winners from the Creative Arts Emmys based on the list I saw and on these internets. First up, Miss Keep a Bag Palmer, Kiki Palmer, is out here becoming the first Black woman to win an Emmy for Best Game Show Host. She is the first woman to win it in 15 years.
15 years.
You sometimes might think that Kiki's over there having a hard time. You know, she's been going through some stuff and then comes out shining professionally. Like, what a win. What an acknowledgement. What history.
It reminds me of the Bible verse, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that came out, not even smell like smoke, okay? Going through the fire, God will protect you and keep you, and you will be just fine
There you
where you
go.
need to be. I love this. And you know the first woman to win this award? The beloved Betty White.
Was she?
Yes.
Love my Golden Girls. Congratulations, Kiki. Do your thing.
Congrats, congrats. Congrats, Kiki. And I hope this is a sign for her that 2024 is going to be all right.
Absolutely.
That foolishness is left in 2023.
I hope we forget his name in 2024. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired. Tired of the
Kiki Palmer, baby
nonsense.
daddy. That's who we going to be.
All right. And next up, we have Storm Reed. I almost cried watching her acceptance speech video. It was so sweet. She won
So sweet.
Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series for her turn in The Last of Us. She thanked her mom. She was just talking about, I'm just a girl from Atlanta, Georgia. Just
So sweet.
we've seen her grow up, so it means something special to see her getting her accolades and her flowers.
Absolutely. When I saw this, I thought this was the sweetest. To your point, we saw her grow up. Shout out to my fellow Cancer. She's born on July 1st. I just saw that now. She's a wrinkle in time. Like that was my first real introduction to her.
Same.
And to see the momentum and the consistency in her career has been such a joy. And she is out here going to college, doing the damn thing. I had like to think that she's doing the same thing that Yara Shahida did, right? Like
Yep.
working, going to college.
I thought about Yara as well.
I love what she represents. And I'm just so proud of her. Like I feel like a big cousin for sure.
I also want to just mention 3 other standouts that I saw. Jasmine Guy won Outstanding Actress
Girl.
in a short form comedy or drama series for The Chronicles of Jessica Wu.
Woo! That made me emotional because A Different World did not get the love it needed back in the day. And that is timeless television. Like we had this conversation before. I felt like my college experience had more similarities to A Different World than it did Grownish.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I had to actually stop watching Grownish for a period of time because I was like, when Zoe started doing like drugs, I was like, what am I watching?
we
Like,
were
this
their
is just a
kids.
different generation because what?
We said no, okay?
But I just mean it just came so fast and in a hurry. I'm like,
Yeah.
can she at least be in college for like a year before I see her start popping pills? Like, what is going on? So I like had to fall back and then I, went hard and Team Aaron all day. But I got back on I got back on the ship. But yeah, I mean, Jasmine Guy, well deserved. And then Jay-Z won Outstanding Directing for Rihanna's Super Bowl halftime show, which people were like, how did Rihanna not win for her Super Bowl halftime show? But it's a category, people. It's a category. Right. And then last but certainly not mofo least is Barack Obama winning for outstanding narrator for Working, What We Do All Day.
You know, he is not only the first Black president of these United States of America, but he about to be an EGOT, because him and Michelle and the production company is coming out here with Oscar nominated. I think they actually won an Oscar. Who am I kidding? They've already won an Oscar. And so this is probably his first Emmy. I wouldn't be surprised if they've already won Grammys, because a lot of politicians have won Grammys for their narration for like their books. I know Hillary Clinton has a Grammy. They're about to be EGOTs out here in a minute. The Obamas.
I don't want to be petty towards one of your favorite couples, but I feel like they've successfully done what Meghan and Harry want to do.
Meghan and Harry needs to get a little bit more organized. Like, I'm all for them, you know, living their lives to the fullest and not being literally just meat for the royal family and you know, walking punching bags in the media.
Yes.
But
I think they have to find another shtick, so to speak.
I do. But they are so good. I mean, Kate wishes she could speak to a crowd the way Meghan Markle speaks. Like, they have this innate X factor.
They have the charisma
that is it needs to be shined, but to your point, they need to find the appropriate vehicle, right? So it's not a podcast. Apparently, it's not Netflix. It was to an extent when they're telling their story, but some of their other projects didn't, you know.
I enjoyed Meghan's podcast, though. I really did.
I did too. Sad to see it go. I think they were expected to have more programming outside of her podcast. And I don't know how true it is, but they wanted like producers on every episode and things like that. I'm like, you know, maybe we need to just rear back a little bit and understand that sometimes you got to do your own editing. I'm just joking.
You got to take one for the team on occasion.
Yes.
I didn't mean to make it about them. That's just one of the thoughts I had when you mentioned
it's real.
It. Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
They need to be mentored or something.
I was just listening to Michelle on Jay Shetty's latest episode of his podcast. And I just love me some Michelle Obama. And
period, point blank.
You know, I will never call Barack Obama just Michelle Obama's husband, but they definitely just have this aura about both of them. Like, even though he was the first Black president, her being the first lady does not begin to describe the esteem that we really have for her. So.
And she handled it with such grace and elegance.
And humility. I mean, even still just to hear her, I'm like, I don't know how y'all stay just this grounded as human beings. Like, this grounded is something.
I think it's because they got famous over the age of 35.
That's what she said. She said, well, at least we had our anonymity until we were like 40, in our 40s.
Yes, they said that based off of whatever age you become famous, that's pretty much where you peak in terms of maturity.
Your growth.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our last headline, which is Don Lemon getting this new show announcement. So he announced this week that he is launching a new media company and has a show that will be debuting via X. This comes 8 months after that CNN firing that we know he said he was stunned by after being with CNN for well over a decade.
Girl.
I think the reason why I wanted to talk about this headline, though, is because I was curious about your thoughts on using X as his platform, right? You know, Elon Musk.
Are you referring to Twitter?
I mean, I'm going to start calling it X. I'm just kidding. I still call it Twitter all the time, but I'm just reading it from this article and they named it as X. But yes,
I was legit confused. I'm like, are we referring to Twitter?
Yes, X, aka Twitter, which I do still call Twitter when I hop on it. Elon Musk is such a controversial figure, and his reign over the platform has continued to be so controversial. People, you know, have left as a mass exodus for, you know, his allowing for hate speech and all these different things on the platform now. But Don Lemon seems to, in his statement, say that he's basically looking forward to the freedom of the platform so that he's not being regulated by what he called hall monitors. So
Yes.
do you think this is a good strategy for Don? Did you have any concerns about this strategy for Don? What were you, or do you even care?
I do care because we were celebrating a new year literally last week, essentially. And I legit was missing drunk Don Lemon during New Year's Eve into New Year's. Like, him in New Orleans was so iconic. And Andy Cohen and Mabu, Silver Fox, Anderson Cooper could never. I'm sorry, they could never. They try, it's just not hitting. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So Don Lemon has had an interesting trajectory, in my personal opinion, because, he did come off as like an other when it came to his Blackness. And I think for him, along with the rest of the country through the years, through the Obama years, and then eventually the Trump years, he ended up being all right. Like, you know what I mean? And I was sad for him to feel blindsided by his departure with CNN. Him having this platform on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, that's probably what I'll probably call it. I feel like I would rather him have a podcast than go on Twitter, frankly.
I was confused by the partnership and a bit disappointed, I guess, if I'm honest, because I get the decision to want to have more freedom, but to your point, there are other avenues to do that. Podcasting would absolutely give him the ability to talk about whatever he wants. Don't know if there was any deals on the table that maybe he did not feel like were as lucrative as this particular deal, but I was disappointed. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens. I'm not super invested in Don Lemon. I did not watch him regularly on CNN like that. But because he's a Black journalist and media, I'm rooting for you and I want to see you succeed. So to that extent, like, I hope that he's also always mindful of what he's doing and who he's aligning himself with, whether business,
Exactly.
whether whatever. And Elon Musk is not someone that I personally feel like I would have expected him to want to align himself with. So we'll have to wait and see.
And it reminds me of the comebacks, quote unquote, of our favorites, like an Angela Rye and Tiffany Cross and curveball of the century, former mayor
of Tallahassee,
Gillum.
Andrew Gillum, and all
Andrew
of his
Gillum.
controversy.
Yeah. With their new podcast, Native Land Pod. I'm going to listen because, first of all, despite the situation that Andrew found himself in, he was a phenomenal political voice. All these people are. So I think this is like dream team, but I do fear, like, I feel like I understand where Angela Rye and Tiffany Cross are coming from with giving him grace and, like, dusting him off and like, we gonna do this, you know what I mean? But is the public gonna allow them to do that? Like, I don't know.
When I saw it, I was shocked that that's who they chose as their third. I guess, obviously Bakari has his own show, so he was unavailable. But
love Bakari. Oh my God. But yeah, that's real.
But you're talking about two of my faves. You're talking about Tiffany Cross and Angela Rye and the cachet that comes with their voices and their opinions. And so to add him as a third is definitely a big deal. And I will give it a listen too, just because I really, like I said, like the two. But Andrew Gillum, I so wanted him to have his shit together because I live in the state of Florida and I wanted him to be governor at one point in time.
He was supposed to be. And who knows, that loss probably hit him a lot harder than we anticipated. In addition to maybe.
It really saddened me, but at the same time, he didn't need it because all the stuff he had going on in his personal life, that would have been a totally crazy situation if he had been governor when all that stuff came out.
No, but worse. I don't feel like that would have came out if he were governor. That's what I'm trying to say. It would.
False.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think this especially was a spiraling situation.
Especially as contentious as politics get in these red states, when anybody from the other side, aka Democrats, get in or close to getting in or have any affiliation with an office that they feel like should have been theirs, they would have dug that shit up as quickly as possible. Absolutely.
So instead they just stole it. But okay.
Instead they just stole it and put a robot, an AI robot, potentially, maybe not AI because he's not smart, but a robot in his place.
Have you seen pictures of him trying to smile? It's like he's glitching or something. I don't want to talk about that man. I don't want to talk about that man.
Manchurian Candidate. I'm telling y'all, it's crazy.
But I will summarize this segment by saying I do think, although I don't agree with the platform, I do think Don Lemon's voice is needed, as well as our faves, now part of the Native Land Pod, because we are in an election year and Black voices need to be heard, unfiltered.
Yep, that's a great point. And I mean, we got a lot more problems that we about to have to be dealing with. So
aliens exist.
They may have been in Miami. Hell.
Girl, that is what I am saying. So that is one of my favorite controversial conspiracy theories right now is Katt Williams came out with that interview when aliens were running rampant in Florida.
Oh my gosh. One of my friends who lives in Miami, I talked to him the next day. I was like, is this really you or is this an alien who's taking over your body? Like, what's really good down there?
He ain't got no videos.
Yeah.
Everybody with camera phones, they ain't got no videos.
That's always the thing. These blurry shots, supposedly, but what are we on? 5G? We on the what is the 4K? What are we on now that y'all ain't got good footage of these supposed aliens in Miami, in the mall of all places too? I've been to that mall. Okay. I don't know.
You?
Yes, ma'am. So let's move on. We're derailed. We're moving on to too much. We still got two major things to talk about in Hot Topics. Okay. First one up. Oh my God. We got civil rights. And this is so timely because it's about to be MLK Day. Okay. The fetish that Jonathan Majors seems to have with the civil rights era is right on time. He's spot on. Him and his love for Corretta Scott King continues in this latest interview he did when he sat down with ABC News journalist from Good Morning America, Lindsay Davis. Interesting that he chose ABC of all platforms, given that Marvel kicked his ass to the curb.
Interesting that Robin was too busy to talk to him.
Was she?
Or that's what I'm saying. That is what I'm alluding to. Michael wasn't available. He was a rising star. He was literally in another stratosphere.
So you saying they didn't even feel like he deserved the top tier? Period. That's what you're saying? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Could be. Or could be everybody knew this was going to be bullshit, because it was.
Girl.
I only watched this interview for y'all, for this podcast, guys, because I did not want to have to suffer through this bullshit. I saw the clips and I was like, you're not saying anything. You're not talking about anything. You're not giving us any detail. You got Megan over there in the corner. You got cry face on. Like, you're not giving me anything except let me be an actor. Let me go on this platform. Let me try to get some level of sympathy from somebody that I still haven't heard. Because I haven't heard any reactions to this where people are like, man, y'all did Jonathan Majors dirty and he convinced me that nothing went down that night between him and his ex. I haven't seen that.
It was the kulaks for me. Like, sir, what are you wearing? At least he didn't have his mug that he usually has in hand.
No, I'm not vilifying him to say I think he should never work in the industry again. That's not what I'm saying at all. No. But I'm saying this interview did absolutely nothing for me And I don't think it's going to sway anything with his sentencing, because that was a big
agree.
thing. It's like he's doing this before his sentencing to try to get some level of public opinion on his side.
I felt like this interview was entirely premature. I feel like we just found out the verdict. Why are you talking about this? I feel like it hurt him in the long run. It hurt him more than it helped, especially the only people who he was trying to root for in terms of court of public opinion. He was trying to get the blacks on his side, and him calling Megan Good Corretta was not it.
When Bernice King comes out and says my mother was not a prop, you know you done piss Black woman off even more.
When did Corretta become the patron saint of like ride or die chicks? Like, I don't understand. Are you Martin? Is he a Martin? Like, everybody talking about Corretta. I need a Corretta. I need a Michelle. But who are you? Like, who are you? Are you on that level?
It's such a wild thing that he ever said in the first place, but then to repeat it, I'm like, are you trolling us?
That
like,
is,
you repeated this?
It's the fact that he initially told his lily white European girlfriend. What makes you think she would understand the significance of what you're talking about? I'm a great man. I need a Corretta. I need a Michelle. She's like, you're a famous actor and I like to party. I'm gonna be out with my girls.
We met on the set of a comic book film, bro. This ain't what MLK and Corretta were spending their time on. And that's no shade. We love film and we love do. But at least, I mean, if David Oyelowo ain't saying this shit, why are you?
His wife is down for the cause too. Like,
at least he can say I played. At least he can say I played Martin Luther King. Ava put me on.
Oprah is my BFF.
Listen.
Oh my God. I'm thinking about what Katt Williams said about him. Did you ever get around to it?
I did. I told you. I watched the whole interview. But the fact that he was low-key insulting Shannon Sharpe, that is fact.
It's his face.
That was his face.
Yep. He came for Shannon's throat like a good 3 times in that entire interview. And Shannon just sat there.
Your allegiance to losers is so unlike you. I mean, I need to reread, like, what did he say? He read the encyclopedia. I need to reread it just to firm up my vocabulary for insult.
Wait, this is inappropriate, but when he came for Wanda Smith and he was like, your gnarled fingers, I was like, ooh, that was a deep cut. He got that from the back pocket. Like,
I had to go watch that interview because I never had even heard about that controversy until they talked about it.
Oh, I did. And he said, my hair is 19 inches long. I can't.
Any other thoughts about Jonathan? Because I'm ready to turn the page. Like, I'm over this whole, I don't want to see him do a tour after his sentencing if he doesn't get much time. Because, you know, he's possibly looking at a year. I don't want to see this tour with him and Megan Good out here on the streets. I flip the page.
I don't think his career should be completely over.
Same. I don't either.
However, he's out here talking about the innocence of this particular incident. But we have to remember, people from his past started coming out of the woodworks talking about his aggressive tendencies. So him trying to play like, I don't know what happened. And then let's not forget, they had text messages of him talking about being an angry man or something. Like, it just made him come off guilty. Whether or not he was exaggerating the way he said that he, like, you know, pushed off a vase off the table or something like that. There is an element of big black man, white woman that played a role. I do feel like that happened, but I also feel like he might need to go to anger management. So
he might. If nothing else, it seems like their relationship was unhealthy, which he even spoke to in that interview. If nothing else.
If nothing else. And I will end with a question. Why, Megan? Why? You are on a successful streaming television show. You are the Megan Good. Body is banging. Why use your cachet on this man? I am dumbfounded. I'm flabbergasted, Ashley.
Is she the woman he was texting? That's what I keep thinking
think
about.
So. That has crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think so.
Well, then who was that woman? That wasn't that long ago.
It was not. It was not.
When did you? What's the timeline?
That's another thing. It's like, how convenient is it that you have a Black girlfriend now that you parade at all your court cases, and he's out here wearing a band on his ring finger? Like, he referred to her as his wife before? Like,
did he?
During the trial, he did. Why?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Megan's head, and I don't want to speculate, but Megan shouldn't be a prop either. Those are my final words.
Period.
All right, let's move on to our final hot topic. These Golden Globes. So I joined the pre-show around 7:30, and it was a fucking hot mess. I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
I am shocked that you took the time to not only watch the pre-show, but the show as well. I am shocked.
Sure did, ma'am. And I am a longtime red carpet watcher. Okay.
And let me clarify by saying, yes, we adore these award shows, or we did. We've kind of grown up a little bit and seen behind the curtain a little bit too much for us to be slightly jaded, right? But we haven't prioritized an award show outside of the Oscars in a very long time.
It just depends on what I have going on, honestly. And one of my other friends was like, "Oh, we're gonna be watching." I was like, "Oh, thank you," because I didn't even remember that shit was airing. So I'll tell you,
it's on CBS now.
I like text commentary, as you know, when I'm watching award shows. Yes. So if I have people to talk to, then it's fun. If I can talk shit and comment on things while I'm watching, now it's a party. Yeah. So that's what I had with the Golden Globes. And that pre-show to start should have been an indication of where we were going with this, because the pre-show, which was a variety ET telecast that I watched on Amazon Prime, I don't know what the fuck somebody in the control room was doing. Them cutaways were horrible. Y'all packages, like cutting mid-sentence people off to start a package. The host didn't know who was up next to talk to who. I'm like, what is going on?
Ryan Seacrest would never.
Nobody from E! News, nobody from E! would have tolerated this mess. E! had they shit down to a science. Nina, everybody, Juliana, everybody over there E! had they ish together. Hot mess, okay? But I was like, oh, it's the pre-show. They just figured out whatever. We get into the show. Joe Coy, who I'm familiar with as a comedian. Familiar.
I also know him as being Chelsea Handler's
ex-baby boo. Last baby boo she had. Okay. I thought this man was going to be cool. I was like, oh, I'm sure, another comedian is going to be fine. Oh my God. He bombed horribly, because the crowd itself, their reactions made you feel so uncomfortable at home.
It was very cringe.
Chuckled at a couple early jokes, and I was like, this is just going sideways. Like, it wasn't even a Taylor Swift joke that everybody wants to talk about. No, that wasn't where he fell flat. He fell flat way before that to me. When he had to say on air, hey, I didn't even write all these jokes. I got this gig 10 days ago. The jokes that I wrote, y'all are laughing at. I was mortified for him. I'm like, what is happening?
Did you see since he's like, oh yeah, I had an off night. I felt they left him. Someone didn't produce him well.
I get that this was a rush, that he was not informed till late, so they did not get a chance to really prep like they probably needed to. But at the same time, this is tough. Like, hosting an award show is tough, and you're doing it in front of the high top tier of the industry, right? You got Robert De Niro over looking at him with a straight face. You know what I'm saying? Like, tough room.
Did you see Harrison Ford's face, like just staring him down?
Selena Gomez was putting her head in her her hands. Like, tough room, tough gig. I felt for Joe Coy, but he did bomb. He really did.
You know what's funny? Kudos to Ricky Gervais though. Like,
but that's the difference. Ricky Gervais is gonna stand on his shit. That's
that
the difference.
Is 10 toes down. That is so true because he has had
come out blazing or don't come.
That part.
Come out blazing or don't come.
Since we haven't talked about it and we probably won't, but the Epstein list that recently came out, someone dig into the archives and found Ricky Gervais made a joke about Hollywood and Epstein that was a little bit too on the nose. Like, it was the worst kept secret in Hollywood.
Yep. I mean, I had a conversation with someone who told me that they think that his issue really was that he tried to toe the line. You either come out like Ricky Gervais and you're acerbic and you don't mind going after people, or you're like a Jimmy Fallon and you're nice and everybody's your best friend. He tried to kind of play the fence. Yeah. And you have to know strongly what you're going to say and what your messaging is going to be and stand on it. So I agree. I think that was kind of where he went wrong. But I want to also give grace. That's a tough gig. Anybody who works in stand-up, for one, I give so much grace to, because stand-up comedy is a tough business. But
that's
then
why
to
they're
do it
so competitive. I mean,
which we've seen even more with the Katt Williams situation. But to come out and have to do it, like I said, in front of this caliber of peers within the industry, I mean, I give you credit for just stepping out on that stage. So backlash aside, I hope this does not derail his future career opportunities, but he won't be back hosting the Golden Globes. That's for damn sure. Let's talk about the fashion, Delora. Did you have any favorites that you saw when you looked at the red carpet?
Girl, can we talk about Mother the Rosamund Pike?
Oh, you liked Rosamund Pike's look with the mask and everything?
Speaking of having to have guts, she came to slay.
You know why she said she wore the mask?
Why?
Because she had just gotten into a skiing accident days before this, and so her face was like messed up. It actually had healed by the time she came to the award show, but she didn't want anybody touching her face, so she had this mask made for her. Yeah, she talked about that on the red carpet.
But the real MVPs of this red carpet were the men. Okay, I mean, so some of my favorites, our favorite Ken, Ryan Gosling, looked amazing. Coleman Domingo looked fantastic. Another one of my favorites, Charles Milton. This man is so beautiful. He's so gorgeous.
And I saw him with his little earring in. I said, okay, Charles.
Okay, Charles. Divine Joy Rudolph. She looked fantastic. The girlies were out to play.
When she accepted her award, though, I was so nervous. I was like, I hope your nipples
she was
stay
gonna be
in
okay.
place.
She was gonna be okay. And I did enjoy Margot Robbie's pink. I enjoyed it.
It was not my favorite from all the pink looks she's had on the Barbie
she's
press
had better
run.
I agree, but I still thought she was cute.
I had to give it to J-Lo in pink, actually. She had a high Barbie moment for me with Nicole and Felicia Couture. Julia Garner, Gucci, silver dress. Really enjoyed. I like a good naked moment. Emma Stone and that Louis Vuitton floral slinky pretty moment. I feel like
she's done it before.
But she looked good, though.
She did.
She looked good.
She did.
Oprah and that purple Louis Vuitton, it didn't photograph as well as it actually looked. If you saw her on the carpet, she looked amazing. And then lastly for me was Janelle James. I couldn't find the designer, but she has on like this black velvet.
She looks so good.
With the green sleeves and like train. Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Beautiful. I actually didn't hate that green on Taylor Swift. I think what I appreciated was her use of color. And Pedro Pascal showing up with that arm brace. I'm like, oh, is he okay? But he looked good. He made it work. I appreciated that from him. He's my honorable mention.
Very nice. All right, let's get into the actual winner chicken dinners. So it was a big night for Oppenheimer, for Succession, for Poor Little Things, which I still haven't seen yet and I need to watch.
The Bear.
The Bear. When Ayo got up, I got out my seat. I was rooting for Ayo so hard. Her speech was so lovely.
Yes.
To thank the assistants, that's a real
Loved
one.
it. Yeah.
That's a real one. Let me run through the top tiers. So we had Divine Joy Randolph, who won Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role in a Motion Picture for The Holdovers. Robert Downey Jr., whose speech made him seem like he really was on drugs. For Oppenheimer, for Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in a Motion Picture. Beef. Both Ali Wong and Steven Yeun won.
Super exciting.
Best Performance by an Actor and Actress in a Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Motion Picture made for television. Elizabeth Debicki won for The Crown for Best Actress, for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role. I'm shocked she didn't thank Princess Diana in her speech, but
you would think
sometimes
right?
when you're up there, you're just doing your thing. I get it. Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role is Matthew McFadden, Succession. Best Screenplay for Motion Picture was Anatomy of a Fall. Jeremy Allen White also won for Best Performance by an Actor in a Television Series, Musical, or Comedy for The Bear. Yes, chef. Ricky Gervais, funny enough, won Best Performance in Stand-Up Comedy, which was a first for this category. And I was very excited that they've added this category because I do think that we've had some great stand-up specials and that comedians deserve their flowers as well.
Absolutely.
Best Motion Picture, Non-English Language was Anatomy of a Fall. Again, shout out to Ayo, Best Performance by an Actress in a Television Series, Musical, or Comedy. Kieran Culkin also had a funny speech, won Best Performance by an Actor in a Television Series for Succession. We have Best Director going to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Emma Stone for Poor Things, Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Best Performance by an Actor. Oppenheimer won Original Score. Billie Eilish and Phineas won for Best Original Song for What Was I Made For?
Yeah.
Barbie. Barbie took home Cinematic and Box Office Achievement. That was the first.
I thought that was interesting. I was like, they wanted to
time for
gift
that category.
them something so they wouldn't end up empty-handed, right? And honestly, making billions of dollars in a year, that deserves some recognition.
It does.
I agree.
I'm glad they got it over Taylor because that was a toss-up to me.
Was it?
For who they were going to give it to, not who I would have wanted to get it.
Got it.
Yeah. Beef won Best Television Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Motion Picture. The Bear won Best Television Series, Musical, or Comedy. Sarah Snook for Succession won Best Performance by an Actress in a Television Series. Succession won Best Television Series. Paul Giamatti won Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture for The Holdovers. Poor Things won Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Lily Gladstone, who had a monumental win for Killers of the Flower Moon, Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture. She got up and spoke some of her native language, which was beautiful. And then Oppenheimer, Best Motion Picture, Drama. So those round out all of the big time categories of the night. Congratulations to all the winners at the Golden Globes. Do you think this is the still major indicator of Oscars?
No. I still think we have to remember when it comes to the Golden Globes, it is, well, I guess there's no longer the Hollywood Foreign Press. I guess they got dismantled, but still, I think the selection is a handful of people versus an entire industry compared to like the Oscars and the SAGs. Well, as you know, SAG is all actors, but the Oscar is, depending on what your category is, it's whoever's in the Academy, right?
Mhm.
And it's a lot of people. So I feel like Golden Globes is a little bit more fun in that way, where you can have some like fun surprises, but ultimately I feel like my favorite indicator when it comes to movies and Oscars is definitely the SAG.
Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see. That is it for us for our headlines and hot topics for the day. Delora, what are we recapping for the people for next week?
Ashley, we are going to do it. We are going to recap one of the most talked about movies of the winter, and that is Saltburn.
Ooh, Chile.
Available on Amazon Prime.
I sat through it. I really did, including those scenes that y'all have heard about on these internets. So it'd be interesting to talk about.
Right.
We'll be back with that, guys. But in the meantime, please share this episode with your friends, family, loved ones. We so appreciate you. Please keep the ratings and reviews coming. We love to hear your feedback. We appreciate anybody who has reviewed us so far. And as always, in the meantime, be blessed.